Hey man, the most painful lesson you'll ever learn is that the more you care about a woman, the less she respects you. Not because caring is wrong, but because caring too much takes you out of your masculine frame. It makes you predictable. It makes you soft. It makes you start living for her emotions instead of your own values. The more you care, the more you start compromising your standards just to keep the peace. And that's exactly when she starts testing you, pushing your limits, pulling away. You start wondering, what did I do wrong? But it's not what you did, it's what you gave up. You gave her the emotional power that should have belonged to your purpose. When a man starts caring too deeply about how a woman feels, he stops leading, he starts reacting, he becomes sensitive to every tone in her voice, every word she says, every shift in her energy. He starts living in her emotional world, a place he was never meant to live in, because feminine emotion isn't a map to follow, it's a storm to remain calm in. And when you forget that, when you try to please her, instead of grounding her, you lose your polarity. She starts seeing you as one of her own, emotional, inconsistent, fragile. The attraction starts fading because she no longer feels safe in your strength. You were never supposed to revolve around her. You were supposed to revolve around your purpose, your focus, your goals, your peace. That's your foundation. But when you start caring more about her moods than your mission, you invert the order of life. You make her the center of your energy, and suddenly everything feels unstable. That's why when she pulls away, you panic. That's why you overthink her silences, because you've built your emotional balance on something that changes daily, her feelings. And no man can find peace in something that unpredictable. Here's the brutal truth. Women don't respect men who care more than they should. They might appreciate your kindness for a while, but deep down, they're drawn to mystery, to unpredictability, to power. When she senses that her actions control your emotions, she loses respect for you, because now she knows she can manipulate your peace. She can test your patience, and you'll still be there. She can disrespect your boundaries, and you'll still come back. And once she knows that, the game is over, because no one values what they can control. Never care about a woman more than she cares about herself. You can love her, you can protect her, you can even cherish her, but the moment your life starts revolving around her validation, you've lost yourself. And here's what happens next. She starts pulling away to see how far she can push before you break. And when you do, when she sees that your composure collapses over her distance, she'll never see you the same again, because she can't respect a man who's emotionally dependent on her. She can only admire the man who's emotionally independent of her. The world has taught you to believe that being overly caring is noble, that being sensitive and available, and always putting her needs first makes you a good man. But what it actually makes you is replaceable, because in her eyes, caring too much doesn't read as love, it reads as weakness. It signals that you need her more than she needs you, and that imbalance kills attraction faster than anything. Because women are biologically wired to be drawn to men who lead, not men who worship. And when she senses you've put her on a pedestal, she stops looking up to you, she starts looking down on you. You need to understand something. Women don't fall in love with men who give them everything. They fall for the man they can't fully figure out, the man who feels calm when they're chaotic, the man who walks away instead of begging, the man who listens without reacting, who feels without folding. That's what fascinates them. Because deep down, every woman wants a man whose world doesn't crumble when she walks away. When you stop caring so much, you become that man, because your calmness becomes her mirror. It shows her that you're not one of the many who bend under pressure. The reason you've been hurt before isn't because you cared, it's because you cared more than she did. You kept showing effort where she showed indifference. You kept explaining when she went silent. You kept giving chances when she stopped trying. You were loving from loyalty while she was loving from convenience, and when she left, you thought it meant you weren't enough. But the truth is, she left because she knew you'd never leave. You made yourself emotionally safe, predictable, and available. All the things that kill desire. She didn't need to chase you, and that's why she didn't. When you stop caring so much, you take your power back. You start acting instead of reacting. You stop checking her phone. You stop worrying about her past. You stop needing constant reassurance. You begin to move like a man again, one who understands that his energy is too valuable to waste on what he can't control. You begin to notice that when you don't care, she does. When you don't chase, she calls. When you stop trying to convince her to see your value, she starts feeling it on her own, because the man who doesn't need her becomes the man she needs. Never care about a woman more than you care about your peace, because peace is power, and every time you let someone disrupt it, you're giving them authority over your emotions. You start living reactively instead of intentionally. But when you hold your peace close, when you protect it like your crown, you move differently. You speak slower, think clearer, and attract better, because a man in control of his emotions is the rarest kind of man. You can't manipulate him, you can't confuse him. You can't take anything from him that he hasn't already chosen to give. That's who you become when you stop caring too much, not cold, but controlled. When you stop caring, you begin to see things clearly for the first time. You start noticing how much emotional chaos you once tolerated under the illusion of love. You see how much energy you poured into arguments that went nowhere, how much time you wasted trying to explain yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. You begin to understand that most of what you called connection was really control, emotional strings disguised as affection, and that realization hits hard, but it also frees you. Because you finally stop confusing drama with depth. You realize that real love doesn't drain you, it disciplines you. It makes you more focused, not more fearful. The man who doesn't care too much moves with a quiet confidence that can't be faked. He doesn't argue to be right, he observes to understand. He doesn't beg to be chosen, he chooses himself. His silence becomes a language of power that women feel even when he says nothing. And that's when things change. Suddenly she starts texting more. She starts wondering where your attention went. She starts feeling anxious when she doesn't have your energy feeding her ego anymore. Because the absence of your care becomes louder than your constant concern ever was. She doesn't miss you. She misses the control she had over you. When you stop caring, she starts overthinking. And that's when the tables turn. See, a woman's greatest fear isn't losing love, it's losing influence. When she feels like she can't move you anymore, she panics, she tries harder, she becomes more affectionate, more communicative, more present. But by then, you've already detached emotionally. You've stopped feeding her ego. You've stopped being predictable. You've stopped being her emotional puppet. Now she has to earn what she once got for free. And ironically, that's when she starts valuing you again. Not because she suddenly matured, but because she finally met the man who can't be controlled by care. You have to understand that the moment you stop caring too much, your energy changes completely. You walk differently, your tone shifts, your eyes carry a kind of calmness that can't be taught, only earned. It's the kind of composure that makes people wonder what's different about you. They can feel that your validation no longer depends on anyone. And when a woman senses that, it drives her wild inside, because now she can't predict you. She can't manipulate you with guilt or distance. She can't trap you in emotional guessing games. You've become the calm in the storm, and every storm secretly wants to be conquered by calm. The problem is, most men have been conditioned to believe that caring less makes them bad partners. But the truth is, it makes them better leaders, because caring too much doesn't make you compassionate, it makes you chaotic. You start reacting to her every mood swing, chasing her every emotional high, and that's exhausting for both of you. But when you stop caring excessively, you start leading with logic instead of emotion. You stop enabling her volatility and start stabilizing the dynamic. You become a man she can lean on, not a man she can lean against until he breaks. And that's when she starts feeling something she hasn't felt in a long time: admiration. Caring less doesn't mean you don't love her. It means you love her correctly. You love her without losing yourself. You give her your attention, but not your identity. You give her your time, but not your peace. You're affectionate, but not addicted. That's the balance most men never master. Because society teaches men to worship women instead of understanding them, to chase them instead of choosing themselves first. But women don't want worship, they want wisdom. They want a man who can stay calm when they're emotional, a man who doesn't react to every feeling but reads between the lines with quiet strength. When you stop caring too much, you stop over-explaining yourself. You stop writing long paragraphs trying to make her see your side. You stop defending your intentions to someone committed to doubting them. You stop chasing closure from someone who benefits from keeping you confused. Because you finally understand that explanations don't create respect, boundaries do. You become okay with being misunderstood because you no longer need her to validate your truth. You'd rather be silent and sane than expressive and drained. And that's the kind of confidence that doesn't just attract women, it terrifies weak ones. You'll start noticing something interesting once you stop caring. Peace becomes addictive. You'll wake up one day realizing how good it feels not to check your phone, not to overthink what she meant, not to feel emotionally enslaved to someone's validation. You'll start enjoying your solitude. You'll start investing your energy in things that build you, your health, your finances, your growth. And soon you'll notice that everything you used to chase begins to chase you, because peace has a frequency. And once you vibrate at that level, you stop attracting chaos disguised as love. You start attracting people who are just as whole as you've become. Caring too much makes you emotional. Caring correctly makes you powerful. You start realizing that the less emotionally reactive you are, the more respect you command. You don't raise your voice, you lower your energy. You don't compete for validation, you create it internally. You don't chase closure, you embody it, because closure isn't something she gives you at the end. It's something you give yourself every day by refusing to let her behavior dictate your peace. And that's when you understand, caring less doesn't make you heartless, it makes you fearless. When you finally stop caring too much, you experience what true freedom feels like. You become immune to manipulation. Her silence doesn't trigger you. Her moods don't move you. Her distance doesn't define your worth. Because your happiness no longer depends on her attention. It depends on your alignment. And when you live from that space, everything changes. You stop being desperate for love because you've already found it in discipline. You stop being addicted to approval because you've already built confidence. You stop chasing relationships because you've already built peace. That's what never care about a woman truly means. Not indifference, but independence.